Julia is going to be MIA because of Thanksgiving stuff.
Yeah.
So let's dig right on in. Now, last time you discovered that the Feywild is a terrible place.
And we should never go there again.
Agreed.
Well,
And if one of you wants to go there again, the rest of the party probably won't be coming with you.
fair.
Fortunately, the real world is at least somewhat predictable, and so Maximus has proposed that you go and overthrow your brother now.
Yeah, sounds good.
And he actually says that you came back ahead of schedule. See, while you were gone, he dispatched a big portion of his force to the city of Yana to scout it out, get the lay of the land, see what's going on in the political situation there. And you actually they actually weren't all scheduled to return until a month after you arrived at the portal. So you've got some time to kill in what's somewhat but not entirely Sylvan Forest.
All right.
How many days?
10 days, because you were 20 days in the Feywild.
Okay, bump my Elvish language training up.
Yeah. I'll probably work on learning the herbalism kit in that time then.
Was somebody in the party teaching you that?
Was someone in the party teaching me that?
I know I was teaching Julia lockpicking, but I don't know if anybody's teaching you herbalism kit stuff. You might have to go back to town for that.
One of the crew knows how to use it.
Oh, okay.
So I said if it's an option.
You'd have to lose a few days to just figuring out where your studies have left off.
That's fair.
It's always tricky getting a new teacher for something.
So I roll a d10, find out how many days I get?
Roll a d6 and subtract that from 10.
Okay.
Oh,
wow. Okay.
Ouch.
Wrong time to get the highest number. Okay, 64 days then.
All right. So when the scouts return, Maximus hears everything. And finally, he comes up to you guys as you're sitting around what will be a campfire that evening. He says, all right, I got everything I needed to hear. So, did you know your brother Camilio was the current prince?
I'd heard that, yes.
All right. Did you hear how he got the job?
No.
Tragic happenstance. So people say.
Oh, so that's code words for he assassinated somebody.
Both his older brothers died in mysterious circumstances that were surely beyond the control of any one person.
Huh. Okay, well, Aurelia has slightly mixed feelings about that because she didn't really get along with or like her brothers at all, and they exiled her and everything. But she didn't necessarily want them to die. I mean, they're still her brothers. So she's a little bit upset to hear that.
So are there any whispers on who did it? Or what?
Oh, I think you can imagine who the prime suspect is, but all things considered, nobody's taken any action against him.
I mean, that's a given. It is a leader of a country at this point.
Yeah. As it is, he's also pretty well liked by the population. He set himself up as some sort of reformer.
Reformer. What does that mean?
Well, from what I've been hearing, he's been adding more seats to the consiglio,
Hmm,
the council, I guess.
yeah.
But yeah, some more people are getting power in the city, but everybody who's getting power seems to be hand selected by Camilio.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, that about adds up. Wouldn't be surprised if some of the people he's elevating were involved with our brother's deaths.
Well, if nothing else, they got an obligation to him now.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Well, I can't imagine that the old families on the Concilio would be too happy about that.
oh no, they're pretty livid from what I hear.
No, perfect.
But other thing I've been hearing he's doing is cracking down on the halfling population.
That motherfucker.
Wait,
And
are the halflings a
what?
problem? What? I don't.
well, allow me to explain something I haven't had to before. Halflings, once upon a time, had their own sort of nation or region of the continent where they lived, but that region got entirely occupied by Okar, and they kicked up so much of a fuss that eventually Okar decided to scatter their population.
Hey guys, I think the halflings might be code for Jews.
Also, gypsies, both at once.
Okay.
Basically, halflings are forbidden in Okar from having their own independent communities. So they've
Wow.
either
Okar
collected
sucks.
themselves. Yeah. Also, they've either collected themselves into large caravans that are constantly on the move, or else they've built communities within larger cities.
Right.
Hmm.
All right.
And,
Well, so
or-
what was their situation in Vienna then before now?
Well, they've a group of halflings have built. I say group, but it is a fairly decent sized community. Have built themselves a home in Vienna, and for the most part, they've been taking up the trade of insurance.
Fair.
They guarantee and fund ships that go out to sea, and if the ships don't come back, they pay out to the owners.
Reasonable.
But apparently, your brother has been finding reasons to arrest them and seize their property. And then that property goes up, is actually held as a lottery. So
Lottery and not
eligible,
auction?
yeah,
Huh.
lottery. And so, yeah, the lucky citizen whose number is picked gets that particular halfling's money and titles. And that is how he's been currying favor with the lower class within the city.
This cannot stand. I mean, giving things to poor people, that is not acceptable. Also, taking things from halflings is also bad.
I'm more against the second one than the first, given my situation. Yeah.
Anyhow, that's how the city's been doing. As for your brother himself, seems he's been keeping mostly to your private estate and to the oh, what the hell is that word? Palazzo di Signoria.
Close enough.
Right, but every time anyone's seen him out and about, he's always had these three mean-looking fellows with him.
Bodyguards?
Bodyguards, friends, could be both.
Hmm.
We do have their names. One is Antonio, one is Modesto, and one is Glauco.
Okay. Does Aurelia recognize any of these names?
No,
Okay.
they're not uncommon names in themselves, but
Right.
you can't really picture any faces to go with
Okay.
them. They're probably new friends your brothers found.
Yeah, I doubt that they're actual friends, but all right. Well, I don't know. I think first steps would be to maybe try to make contact with people in the city who are not well disposed to Camilo and Camilio. I forget was it
Camilio.
Camilio.
Well, ma'am, I will tell you this. It is part of my job, part of my part of the job of this force here, to make sure that you get into your old family estate, past any guards and any traps, magical or otherwise, that might be in between you and your brother. However, I don't think we'll be able to do anything about your brother's friends.
Well, I mean,
And they
that's
seem like
fine.
They do seem like mean sons of bitches, though.
Yeah.
So if you want my advice,
Well, I've got friends who are mean sons of bitches too.
Hey.
all right. But if you want my advice, divide and conquer.
How's that?
Well, they ain't
Separate the one from the group. Take the
gonna
one
be
out.
together 24/7, you know.
I mean, sure.
Of course, we don't know what all their routines are. You'll have to figure something out about that yourself if you're gonna do something.
You guys remember how to go invisible, right? Look at the other two.
Yeah, of course.
No, I don't remember how to do that at all.
A skeptical look goes across Grunash's face. Look into the lake.
It's called sarcasm, buddy.
I know what it is. I didn't think it was appropriate.
I mean, it's my MO at this point. I turn invisible, I shoot things with lasers.
All right. Well,
Point taken.
if we can take out Camilo, I mean, I don't exactly want to kill him if I can avoid it, but it may be the only way. Then it shouldn't be too difficult to rally the city around me.
I mean, you do remember how I handled that guy in the tower, right? Back at the guild?
No.
Punched him. It's this.
Grabbed him and let you guys
Oh
either beat the
yeah.
shit out of him or I helped a few times.
Yeah. I remember that now.
Right.
If it worked
Yeah.
once.
Okay.
So
Also-
at this point, Maximus will take you to Vienna.
All right.
And oh yeah, but before you get too close, he does turn to Aurelia and say, you really ought to do something about your hair."
Why's that?
But people can spot it from a mile off. You're coming into
Well, yeah,
familiar
that's the point.
territory.
Oh, right.
I think I've got.
You don't want to announce your presence before you're good and ready, I imagine.
I suppose you're right. Well,
Does
I'll
anybody
just
have
hide it.
disguise self? That
I can
works.
wear a hood.
Yeah, that too.
I don't have disguise. So can I get disguise self?
Oh, you're a bard. There's no question.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why I don't have it then, because that's the kind of spell I like.
Well, it also only lasts for like an hour.
That too.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think just wearing a hood would be good. We'll also hide the ears.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna. Can I assume that Aurelia has access to a hood or clothing she could use to hide her hair and ears?
I mean, Lake
If
has.
you don't, then Maximus definitely has a few spares.
Yeah, I
Right,
would
okay.
have a few spares too because I use my hood to hide my halo.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll take a nice big hood if possible, something that can then also maybe cover her face just in case someone recognizes her face as well. Like not cover her face completely, obviously, just make her features harder to see.
All right. Well, when you finally get to the city itself, you see a different side of Maximus because all of a sudden, your Ocaran strike force has almost overnight become a Ocaran merchant caravan, with
Nice.
Maximus being this very friendly, open, apparently, person as he speaks with the guards. He talks to some of them like he recognizes them from past visits.
I can see that this Maximus is not to be underestimated.
All the batteries on our side then.
Yeah. He's more than just a brawny arm.
Okay, what
yeah,
real
and-
life city is this? Because it's driving me nuts.
I don't know. I just found it on Google Images.
Okay.
And by the way, Magus Lorm is no longer with you. He and a smaller escort headed straight back for Okar since his business in this venture was over.
Okay.
That's fair. Aurelia does well. She wishes him goodbye, but if she does so rather tersely. All right. So we're in the city now, or
Yeah. Maximus has arranged for quarters for everyone at a fairly standard inn. Somewhat a little above the standard middle class fare, but certainly not the palatial place where the real movers and shakers sleep when they're in town.
Of course.
However, to Lake, this is like the epitome of extravagance.
I mean, Lake is rich now. Does Lake still like fucking sleep outdoors or whatever?
Really crappy inns, but yes, they're pretty frugal still.
Yeah, I might still want to point out that Grunash is probably wearing his robe at this point and making sure that he's almost completely covered.
Lake just
'Cause
has their hood up.
He knows that he's going to look out of place.
Lake just goes to a hostel and uses a giant bag of gold coins as a pillow.
Yeah. Well, Grunash, you do notice that you're not necessarily the only half-orc in town, but you're certainly not as common as you were further south.
Made complete sense.
Fortunately, there's no racism in Viana, except for the stuff that Camilo is importing.
Yeah, the mention of halflings is
There's-
really
There's no racism
Put
in
That's-
here,
that's
except
because
for all
of
the racism.
Camilo. That's just because of Camilo.
Hey,
Yeah.
quick, what's your opinion on non-elves?
What? My opinion on non-elves? I'm not an elf, so pretty good.
I miss Saria.
Yeah, don't get me confused with Serial. I'm not racist against non-elves.
All right, but yeah, in terms of reaction, half orcs are basically not suspicious, but they are exotic.
I'm sure that's fun.
Meanwhile, Lake does have their hood up trying to hide the halo.
All right.
All right.
So Maximus reiterates that he is here to get you inside your family estate, but that is the extent of his job.
All
So
right.
now
I mean,
that-
that's fair.
So now that you're here, it's up to your own devices.
All right. So we're inside the estate now? That all goes off without a hitch? Or-
No,
Oh, okay. Sorry. The way you said here, I wasn't sure what you meant.
here in the city.
Oh.
But yeah, Maximus will wait around for however long it takes
All right.
for you to build your support, cut down his supporters, whatever it is you want to do, or he could do it immediately if you'd rather do that.
Oh, I see. All right. Well,
But just so you know, in case you had any questions, suddenly showing up and just saying, "I murdered the previous guy. Now I'm in charge," probably won't go over that well.
I mean, yeah, but except I'm the rightful ruler anyway. I'm sure all the people have been, pining for my return. The princess over the water, except not water. The princess over the land in other land. Look,
Maximus laughs.
Yes. All right. Well, all right. I mean, first of all, I don't know if you guys have any input on this or
I mean,
what.
not really.
I feel we
Okay.
need more information first before we go forward.
Yeah, I feel like okay. So Aurelia's going to try to figure out: is there a merchant family or a particular person who is likely to be most sympathetic to her? Like, is there anyone she can think of who she could go to and reveal that she's in the city and that she can take down Camillo?
Roll history.
God damn it!
All right. You met a lot of wealthy merchant families during your time as part of the prince's family, but for some reason you either can't remember or you've been rejecting just out of hand all the names that you can remember, except for one.
Hmm.
You do remember the how would you pronounce it? Cha or Ka?
How's it spelled? Giancolo?
Yeah. The Giancolo family.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that he's from one of the particularly old families of the city. Like, was basically came to power alongside the ancestor of yours first
Aurelia
took
the
over
First, yes.
who first took over this city.
Ah, yes.
And
The
you remember,
Giancolo family. They will be loyal to me.
and their head, um, Giuseppe. He always had treats for you when he stopped by your estate.
Nice. People who give treats to kids are inherently good people. It's true.
Were they Werther's originals?
No, they were something good. Okay, well, I guess that's our best lead. Let's go speak to
I guess.
Giuseppe Giancolo. Well, I don't know. Do you guys have any better ideas?
No, not really.
I kind of botched my role, so I'm hoping that I don't know. He's not
You know what?
actually a traitor or whatever.
You know what?
But
Fuck it. I'm gonna hit the streets instead. While you're going to talk to those fancy schmancy people up in their fucking rich ass houses, I'm gonna hit the streets and see if there's like any people who are actually, mad about the whole situation with your brother.
that's fair. Actually, that's another thing to think about. Maybe it would be worth trying to find the halflings first.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they're more guaranteed to be against Camilla.
How about this? I know this is usually a death sentence, but we're just doing like exploratory stuff. Let's split the party. You go talk to the people. I'll hit the streets and see if I can find out about the halfling stuff.
Sure.
All right.
Who does Gruinash want to go with?
Yeah, Grenache just, or if he wants to do his own thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
One's hitting the streets and checking on the halflings. The other's going to a potential ally.
Yeah. Well, the halflings and the streets are two different places.
Yeah. I was going to specifically hit the streets. Maybe you want to go check up on the halflings.
Yeah, I'll go do that then.
Okay. I guess we'll meet back here.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, roll for who gets to go first.
Just a D20?
Straight D20, yeah.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So Aurelia makes her way to the Giancolo estate, I guess.
All right. This building is sandwiched within the crowded streets of Vienna. Does not have the benefit of being on its own separate plot of land like your estate does.
All right.
But it is significantly larger than the homes on either side. And of course, there is that guard at the front door.
Right. This might actually be tricky because I will have to gain entrance without his without revealing to this guard, because I don't know if I can trust this guard. All right. Well, I mean, I do have good social skills. I'm just going to go up to the guard and say, "Sir, I have an important message for Giuseppe Giancolo. Please, may I speak to him?
You may give me your message.
I am afraid it is strictly for his ears."
That's what they all say.
Yes, well, in this case, it is true. I mean, I could just use magic on him, but that might not be the best.
Well, if you could come up with a more specific argument, you
Yeah, I'm
might
trying
try
to think.
that first.
It's just tough. Because I mean, realistically, she doesn't really know much about what's happening right now. It's hard for her to think of like a plausible lie for what she could have to say. I mean, what does she know about the Giancarlo family's like business or things? Is there anything she could use there?
Well, he's got enough ships to his name that he doesn't really specialize in any particular industry or any type of shipping. He's got his fingers in just about every pot that goes through the city. But as such, that does mean that he has very extensive business contacts, both within and without of the city's borders.
And probably something with the halflings.
Okay.
So,
all right. So she's just gonna
and
say,
you actually know quite a few of them because,
yeah.
as growing up, you've met a number of the wealthiest families.
So she's just gonna pick a name of someone, one of the more powerful people or families, and say that she comes with an urgent message from him or her about a problem with one of the deals, and it is of the utmost urgency that she speak to Giuseppe, and she cannot reveal any more than that, or else, frankly, her employer will have her head.
All right.
So
That's deception.
that's what I figured. Ugh.
I mean, considering you roll a 5, that's not bad.
Yeah.
The guard narrows his eyes, gives you a close look, and then says, "Pull the other one."
Very well. I will leave and speak to my employer, and you will be sorry then. I assure you. She leaves, and she starts looking around for another way in. If she can't see one, then she'll just fucking use suggestion on him or something. But does it look like there could be another way in for her?
Well, there really isn't an obvious other entrance because this is a medieval house.
Yeah.
It's built with terrible fire code standards. However, you do know that wealthy families tend to be fairly paranoid, and so there's probably a hidden emergency exit somewhere on the side of the building. Because, you know for a fact that there's a secret passage in your own house.
Well, of course. Who doesn't have a secret passage or two in their house? Like peasants, that's who. All right. How would I find that? Investigation?
That's investigation, yep.
Oh God. Oh, now I roll well.
All right, you do find something. There's this part of the wall that looks like it used to be a door but got bricked up. You've got this sneaking suspicion that it might actually be a current door that's disguised to look bricked up.
Ah, all right. But how do I open it? Because it probably only opens from the inside.
It's not like you can cast magic or anything.
I can, but my magic mostly just affects people's brains. Very
Just
little of my
convince the
magic
door to
actually
open. I mean, just convince it to open.
Like I have one spell that actually affects the physical world, pretty much. And I'm not going to cast Fireball at this guy's house.
Holy shit! How did you get fireball?
Yeah, everyone would die. It's got terrible fire code
Yeah.
stat.
Oh no, sorry. I guess I actually have 2 spells because I do have Polymorph as well.
You know you can use that on yourself.
Oh fuck! I can use that on myself. I could
Yeah.
turn into a fucking bird or something. Okay, is there an open window? Well, hang on. Here's another question: can I see through any of the windows into any areas of the house? Like,
Well, it's a fairly warm spring day,
mhm.
especially at this latitude. Winters are very mild around here, so spring. So at this point in the year, it's already well into early summer, essentially.
Right. Because I could
And,
just Misty Step into the house if I could
As-
see something on the inside.
Yes, as such, there are a few open windows on the second floor.
All right. I'll just take the easy way out and Misty Step into one of those.
Okay,
Preferably from a place where no one can see me or I'm
Yes,
unlikely to be noticed.
roll stealth to find that spot.
Holy
Okay.
shit!
Well,
Holy shit.
Well, there you go.
all right.
You find one of the places where you actually used to hide when you were a kid, and escaping the people who were supposed to be babysitting you.
Haha, those suckers.
Still can't find me here, the idiots.
Vianney is hide and seek champion 3 years running. All right. So yes, she steps into one of the open windows, basically, or just inside one of the open windows. She has no idea what room she's stepping into. Hopefully, there's no one in there, but we'll see.
Huh?
Well, let me
Warlocks
check.
can't get polymorph.
Even if you do, you're that well hidden.
All right, you hear a maid cleaning up something in the next room.
Okay. Well, now might be a good time to just make myself invisible, to be honest.
Fair
So
enough.
I'm going to cast invisibility on myself. Oh yeah, when I was counting my spells that affect the world, I wasn't counting the ones I get from my DOS loot. So yeah, I'm going to become invisible, and I'm going to start looking for Giuseppe.
All right. Well, you haven't actually been to his place very often,
No.
but so we'll need to roll investigate to see what's likely to be his office.
Sure.
All right. Well, fortunately, you haven't really been in here before, but between your the few memories you have and the fact that Vienna architecture tends to be somewhat predictable, you're able to find the office without much trouble. Now, let me just check something else here. Ah, he's not in.
God damn it. All right. You just mean he's not in the office. He could still
Right.
be in the house? Okay. Well, time to keep looking, I guess.
Look in his bedroom.
All right, and roll stealth with advantage,
Okay.
because you are still making noises. Fair enough.
Wow, I'm rolling well right now.
Don't say anything, you'll curse it.
Too late.
Oh no.
Okay. Ah. His wife is in his bedroom.
All right. Do I know her at all?
Um, You believe that her name is Ava.
All right. So she's
But-
what? Just sitting in the bed? Is she lying on the bed or something? I don't want to wake her up.
Oh no, she's. I mean, this is not the time of day where people are usually asleep.
What? Yeah, people can take naps though. I mean,
But no, looks like she's actually been reading, or she is reading, and she's in the bedroom suite, but she's in a seat in a chair.
Okay. So the question is, should I speak to her?
Well, while you
'Cause-
ponder that, I need to feed the cats.
Okay. Because if I talk to her, I mean, I'm kind of blowing my cover, which might be fine, but
It might be fine with her. She just may be
Not.
like, "Oh, hey, Aurelia, long time no see. Let me just go take you to Giuseppe. You want to see him?"
Yeah, that would be the ideal outcome.
Yeah.
The problem
but
is,
the problem is, will that actually happen?
yeah, I don't know. She might be a little freaked out I broke into her house. To be honest, Giuseppe might also be a little freaked out, but at least I know that Giuseppe likes me.
Yeah.
This is a tricky one. Well, I mean, I know she's here. I guess I can just keep searching the house.
Yeah.
And
Like-
if I really can't find him, I'll ask her where she
Yeah.
is, where he is.
Yeah. Like you've got a couple minutes on invisibility. That's what regular invisibility is like. What 10 minutes, right?
I don't know.
Thinking,
I wish I could get this stupid thing. Like I'm using this character sheet, which is really good, and it like does a bunch of stuff automatically. But annoyingly, there's no way to list my spells that I get from my DOS loot on.
oh no,
my-
invisibility lasts an hour.
Oh yeah, so I got some time.
Oh yeah, you definitely got time.
Yeah. Maybe checking for other options is a good thing to do for now, but at least it's an option available to you.
Yeah.
Let's just hope she doesn't finish reading and decides to move.
Well, I mean that's fine.
Hey, books could be really good in this place.
She's just reading a trashy
I
romance
mean-
novel, and we all know it.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, look at this place.
I'm not
They-
saying that as
they
a
clearly
disparaging
got-
thing. If you love trashy romance novels, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah, it's just like people who watch hentai, you know.
Exactly.
If that's what you do it. You know. People might look weirdly at you for it, but you know, it's your thing. Go for it. I mean, look at this city. They're into trashing it. I mean, look at the walls there. The walls of the how many houses is that supposed to be? It's like
God,
they're into
it's like
trashy, obviously.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
Like
12,
16
13,
different
14,
colors.
15. Yeah.
What now?
We were talking about how many houses there were in that one thing. It's like 15 different houses.
Different colors each
The row
one.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So obviously into
All
trashy
right, so
stuff.
Aurelia's gonna keep looking around and see if she can find. She's not gonna blow her cover until she's investigated the whole house. So
All right. Well, you could always check the first floor.
yep, I'll do that. More investigate and stealth.
Yes, both, because you're going on to a more populated floor now.
Thank goodness for advantage.
Someone making a flying dog there?
No, hold on.
Notice
You'll,
that.
you'll see what it is in just a minute.
Looks like a slightly irate Snoopy. All right. Looks like Giuseppe himself is down in the drawing room along with a few guests.
Ah, dang it.
And as you enter the room,
Hmm.
Giuseppe seems to look in your direction. Say, did anybody else hear that?
Shit. Do I recognize the other people he's with?
By face, if not necessarily by name. They are associates of his, mostly from in town.
Okay.
And
But
unfortunately,
can't I trust them?
because they managed to hear you, they broke off their conversation before you could hear too much of it.
Dang it. All
But
right.
You will need to react quickly because these are paranoid and rich people who know what invisible infiltrators are.
Okay, guys. Moment of truth. Do I reveal myself or do I keep trying to hide? I feel like Giuseppe would appreciate it more if I revealed myself.
I
now.
would say just give it up and just pop and be like, "Hey, Uncle Giuseppe, how's it going?"
Okay. So is the door closed or somewhere? I mean, basically, does she know exactly at this point who's going to see her? Like, she's not in view of everyone in the house or anything.
You are kind of in view of everyone in this room.
Yeah, the room's fine. Wait, is there anyone in this room besides Giuseppe and his associates?
No.
Okay. Well, Aurelia is going to turn off the invisibility and dramatically pull off her hood at the same time and announce herself. I am Aurelia de Zafrani de Viana, and I have returned to overthrow my evil brother and bring justice back to the principality. And she waits for everyone to applaud.
Giuseppe smiles and says, Aurelia, you always were the overdramatic one. And
Yes.
he gets up and he comes over and he pinches your cheeks.
This is slightly inappropriate, but I will accept it under the circumstances.
You're not having me murdered immediately. Okay, fine, whatever.
He says, Aurelia, how many years has it been? How have you been? How have you been? Where have you been? Do you know what's been going on in Vienna? And at this point, one of his associates says, so you're just going to ignore how she just appeared here out of nowhere? Hush, hush. This is her way. She does this.
Yes. Well,
don't you know that her evil brother is in charge? Of course, she could not just come in and announce herself.
Yes. Yes. Well, I've been. Well, I've basically been gone since my father died, and I think we all remember when that happened. So yes, it has been a few years, and since I was cruelly exiled by my brothers, but I have returned now. I am wiser and stronger, and completely an adult at the ripe old age of 19.
You're only 19.
Aurelia's pretty young. Why do you think she acts like such a fucking idiot? She's literally a teenager. Actually, she might be 20 now. She might have had her birthday.
Yeah,
I don't forget how long we've been questing or whatever. But
it's been about 9 months, I think.
Yeah, most of a year at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna bump up Lake's age to 28.
All right, so she's probably 20 at this point then. Yes. But yes, I have returned. I do not know all of what has happened. I only know that Camilo has has taken power, that he is he has done many unjust things, including perhaps the murder of my other two brothers. But none of that matters now, because I am here, and I have come to you, Giuseppe Giancolo, because I hope that you and the other loyal merchant nobles of Vienna will be able to help me restore myself to power, as my father wished.
Roll persuasion and then roll insight.
Okay. Oh boy. Are you fucking joking?
Still a pretty good persuasion check, honestly.
Oh my god.
Do you have inspiration?
No, I used it last time.
Oh, dang.
Wow, okay. God.
Figures now you would roll like garbage.
All right. So your speech was pretty much just as dramatic and yet pretentious as you made it out to be just now. And well, you can't really read specific emotions out of the other merchants in the room. You do get the impression that they aren't quite as enthusiastic as you are about the impending future. You're not sure, like, quite where they stand
I see.
in terms of specifics, but
Hmm.
enthusiastic is definitely crossed off the list.
All right. Well, minor setback. What about Giuseppe?
Giuseppe has that smile he always gives you when he visits your estate. And he turns to the others and says, how about that, huh? Huh? You wanted you know, we could, you know. And at this point, the other merchants start nodding a bit. And so Giuseppe just turns back to you and says, okay. We got some more things to discuss here. Tell you what, you go to the dining room. You ask the servants there, make you something nice, something that tastes of home. Yeah, you've been away for so long. You probably haven't had any good food for years. So go get some good food. We'll finish up here. I'll come talk to you. We'll see how things shake out. Yeah.
Well, it really does not really feels like she's being sidelined a bit here, which she's not super fond of, but she's willing to go along with it because she doesn't want to she doesn't want to upset Giuseppe at this point.
Yeah, doesn't want to burn bridges just yet.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, all right. I will do that. But
And he does call out, by the way, to warn the servants that you are here now.
yes.
So you're not going to be surprising anybody at this point.
Okay. But she might still put the hood back up, just because you never know if one of these servants is going to be a spy for Camilo. Okay, yeah, so she's going to go do that.
Out of curiosity, what tastes like home?
Oof. I mean, maybe it's lazy, but probably just, pasta. It's probably just Italian food, right? I mean,
Well, you can be more specific than just pasta.
all right. Oh, well, obviously then it's pasta Viennese, the special sauce that is native to Vienna, and It's basically exactly like bolognese.
Fair enough.
So yeah, she'll have some of that,
All
but
right.
not with spaghetti because she's not some fucking American. With
No,
you know,
Italians do have spaghetti. They just have fresh spaghetti.
yes, but they don't have spaghetti with like a meat sauce. You wouldn't do that. It's not a real thing. You would have like a flat noodle. Anyway, that's beside the point. Yes, she'll have some authentic pasta viennese.
All right. Well, you get time to savor the meal because it's not until about half an hour later that Giuseppe comes into the dining room and sits down across from you and says, "So, said you've been growing in power. What have you been up to?"
Well, I went. You remember? Oh fuck! What did I name the gnome? Oh god, I don't remember what I named her gnome mentor. Well, you remember? Insert name here. The gnome bard who visited every year. He helped me out when I was first exiled. I went trained under him for a couple of years, and then went off on my own. As a traveling bard and adventurer. I've been up to a few things since then. Single-handedly killed an aboleth, this monstrous sea creature of some kind. Brought down the entire adventurers guild in Okar because it was corrupt and evil. I mean, it's still kind of corrupt because it's controlled by Okar, but it's better now. Things like that.
I visited you, Mom.
I'm basically the greatest hero in the world. She doesn't literally say that, but she basically just talks up all of her accomplishments.
All right.
As if they were done by yourself.
Well, as I've established,
And of course, she mentions that she has, sidekicks who assist her with various tasks.
well, like I've said, Giuseppe here is used to, dealing with the kind of exaggerations you pass out, and so he just smiles and nods along as you describe all of this stuff. And so he says, "Okay, now it's my turn to tell you the story of what's been going on in here. Now, you apparently have heard that your brother Camilio is now the prince, yes?"
Yes, the usurper prince, not the true prince, obviously, but yes, he is occupying the office of prince.
Yes. And then you have heard that his brothers were assassinated.
Yes, or killed. I mean, I was told that there's no conclusive evidence
They
that proves
died
that they
under
were assassinated.
mysterious circumstances.
Yes, they died mysteriously, is what I was told.
Well, they were probably both killed. One of them, maybe Camilio did it, but the other one, the merchants did.
Oh, which merchants?
Well, it's a little awkward. You see, well, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But your oldest brother, Lucio, he wanted all the merchant power for himself. He was confiscating merchants' livelihoods left and right, coming up with all of these new laws and regulations that we had to keep to if we wanted to keep our stuff.
I see. Upsetting the age-old balance. Yes, I understand why some might have taken things into their own hands in such a circumstance.
Yes, unfortunate business. Always unfortunate business when blood gets spilled like this. But your youngest brother, he's learned the lesson of Lucio. He is being a little more subtle about grabbing power, but he is grabbing power, and me and my friends in there, we've noticed. We are thinking about what to do about this.
Well, I have an idea.
Yes.
I feel like her idea is kind of implied.
Yes. Forgive me, Aurelia. I cannot just see you as the little niece I never had right now. I have to think of you as a piece on the board, you know?
I understand. But it's important to remember that I am the rightful princess.
Yes, but you're not all, and he points to his ear. It, for some of the people here, it is awkward. Especially, even if you keep the ears covered, you've got the hair. It, you will automatically anger some of the merchants here just because you say you are in charge. I mean, not me, of course. Again, I love my little Aurelia. Always so nice when they came over.
Aurelia is kind of more surprised than she should be to realize that there are people who don't like her because she's not fully human. Oh, really? Well, that's none of their business, frankly. I mean, look,
Well, if you're going to make the laws for them, that is their business.
Well, that's not something that I can change, so I don't really think it's worth worrying about. If there are some disloyal merchants who won't support me because of that, then well, they'll have to make their own choice.
Then they might want to change you, or where you are, and how much breathing you're doing.
Well, they're welcome to try.
But, well, actually, we were discussing this problem in the other room. And we think we know of a way that we can help you be safe, keep everybody happy, and you get to be the prince.
How's that?
Well, if more power went to the Signoria, then you wouldn't need to be around so much.
I see. Well, I might be willing to negotiate something, not because not because I'd be forced to. I would never accept such a thing, as I'm sure you know. But perhaps if I judged that the city would be better off, if it were under the, if certain aspects of the power structure were tweaked slightly, perhaps I may make changes. Yes.
Then you would have a lot of merchants very happy with the way you are moving things. Many more than the ones that would be unhappy just because of your ears.
Yes, I think that might happen. I'll have to review what changes are being proposed, but
all right, then then I think maybe we can support you and your claim, even though your father never really married your mother. I mean,
Yes, well,
that is something else that is a bit of an issue. Maybe not so much as other things, but
no. The
if
important
there's
thing is that
if
my
there's
father and mother loved each other, which is what really counts.
Hmm, I would not know. But I tell you this: you go to wherever it is you're staying. We will. I will talk to more of my merchants. We will see what we can do, and what we could do to help you with your friend Camilio, or with your brother Camilio.
Sure, I will consider any proposals that you have for uh, tweaking of governance, that sort of thing.
Yes, keeping an open mind is a very good trait in a ruler, and I'm sure you will make a great ruler.
I do think Aurelia wants to know exactly, because she doesn't want to sign away, all her power and become a complete figurehead, but she is also willing to make some compromises. So
Um, well, basically, it would amount to additional checks compared to the current amount of power that the prince has, and more importantly, a guarantee essentially that she would not seek additional power the way her brothers have been.
oh well, that part's easy. She has no desire to upset the status quo.
All right. Well, I won't get into details because this is not that kind of
Yeah, no, that's fair.
campaign.
I was just looking for an overview of how much they're asking for, basically, because
Yeah. So that's basically it.
okay, yeah, that sounds fine. She's probably fine with that.
All right. Well, you slip out of the building with much less difficulty because the guards know to ignore that you're invisible and leaving the building.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I wink at. Well, she's not invisible anymore. She can only cast that once per day. So,
really,
I think so.
it's a second level spell. You should have tons of those.
No, but it's not. She doesn't actually know it as a spell. She casts it
Oh,
with
right.
her loot.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, in any case, yeah, the guards know to ignore your presence this
Yeah,
time.
and she winks at the one at the door.
He shrugs.
Oh, what
As far as he's concerned, he did his job.
No, he did actually. He did a good job.
He did. I mean, he's probably the most competent guard we've ever met.
That's fair. All right.
So Grunash
Was it
got the
Grenache
second
next?
roll.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So
Okay.
just by asking around a bit, you can easily find out where the halfling enclave in the city is. And once you get there, it's fairly obvious because all of the buildings are built to halfling specs.
Oh my god, and you're like 7 feet tall. Oh no.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I'm 6'5", so
well the buildings designed for commerce do have tall ceilings and doors.
yeah,
But
that makes sense.
yeah, all of the residences are definitely a little too. Well, you would be cramped. Is sort of an understatement.
Yeah, that's not something I'm gonna try.
All right.
Looking
And
around at the halflings around, is there any sort of discontent or weariness to them, or does something upset them about my presence there?
roll insight.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's not that hard to deduce. But all of the halflings around you are pretty on edge, pretty wary of anyone who isn't a halfling. And although they don't seem too on their guard when they look at you, they are definitely keeping an eye on you as you make your way further into the Enclave.
That sounds about right.
All right. Is there any sort of business or person of importance that you'd be looking for?
Mostly I'd just be keeping my ears to the ground, trying to pick up any loose discussion about recent events, and just following up on the information I overhear. Perhaps checking out that property that was recently seized by the elves as well.
Wait, by the elves, did you say?
Is that who we're dealing with right now?
No, we're dealing with the halflings.
No, I meant the people who took over the building.
Oh.
No, that Viana is a majority human city.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what the humans up to then?
Well, according to Maximus, they have been basically coming up with excuses to arrest halflings, seize all of their property, and then hand it out to human citizens via a lottery.
Yeah, I'll check out this building and try to keep my ears to the ground as well, see if there's any other places that are looking to be targeted, or any that might be on the suspicion list of being targeted next.
Well, quite a few have already been targeted. Camilio has been in power for some time now.
I'm thinking more on the recent events, like 2-3 months kind of thing.
Right. Roll perception.
Okay.
And 2 or 3 times. Because you're wandering through, keeping your ears open.
Hey, there we go.
That's a good one. Do you want me to do one more?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, the halflings aren't that easy to listen in on. They're keeping their voices down, muttering to each other, and they seem to avoid gathering too many in one place at once. Like, you're not the only non-halfling in the Enclave. There are a number of guards going around in fairly decent-sized squads, giving the halflings dark looks, hassling them, stopping them in the street sometimes, laughing at their misfortune or making tasteless jokes. But
I make a visual note of that.
at some point, you find yourself near an outdoor cafe. You've basically bought yourself a local drink just as an excuse to sit down and overhear the rest of the patrons.
Mm-hmm.
And you overhear one of them. You overhear a couple who are rather loudly whispering to each other. Did you hear about Rex? Yeah, I heard about Rex. Heard it was heard that two of his ships were in port at the time. They got both of them. Oh, of course. I bet they were just waiting for the second one to come in too. Yeah, that'd be like Camilio. What are they gonna do with his house? It's us sized. I don't know. I think they're waiting until they can get a whole block together and then just demolish it. Build some of them sized buildings.
Hmm.
You think we're going to have to move soon? Oh, I hope not. Vienna, for all the trouble we get here, at least Vienna's peaceful. Better than some of the other places up north, from what I hear. Yeah, we could always go to the Gnome Lands. Yeah, we could. And both of them just sort of snicker to each other.
As if, yeah, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. No, but seriously, we wouldn't be the first ones to go over there. Yeah, but we've met gnomes. Yeah, we have. What
So
about
curious. Sorry to interrupt. Curious. Would I have heard anything about what's further north?
what's further north is more of the region known as Relgoth. Specifically, the warring states of Relgoth.
Ah, right. Yeah,
And
that makes a lot more sense.
the states that are towards the south end on Okar's border tend to be more stable and less warlike, mostly because doing so is an easy way to get snapped up by the growing empire.
Hmm.
But yeah, then one of them, then the male halfling says, "So what about Salazar? Well, what's his plan?" Well, if he has one, I haven't heard about it. And then they continue on, moving on to other topics and other gripes. But you did get the distinct impression that Salazar is some kind of mover and shaker among the halfling community.
Hmm. The problem would be finding one that's willing to talk. I keep a note of the name and I start heading towards the location that recently been taken over by the humans.
Roll investigation.
Okay. Oh. I had to pick one of my bad ones.
Hey,
It's a
you're the
decent
one.
roll at least.
You're the one who picked it, honestly. But yeah, no, it's not that hard to find just um, a house that's been occupied by or sold off to humans, because they've got all of the halfling-sized furniture chucked out onto the street in front of the building.
Fucking rude.
I thought all the hostilities were further north. I'll look around. Is there anyone nearby?
Oh, there's plenty of people nearby. The city streets are fairly thick with people, even here in the halfling enclave. So you could roll perception, or possibly,
Particularly.
or insight.
Look to see if there's anyone in particular who might take an interest in me or perhaps be interested in speaking with me for some reason or another. So, insight?
or perception, your choice.
I'll go with the better one.
All right. Well, you do notice that among the crowd, going back and forth down this street, there are a few halflings that have stopped to stare at the pile and at the guards who are coming in and out, dragging out more furniture. But the traffic on the street is a little too thick. You can't get quite a good look at any one of the halflings that is staring and watching this spectacle.
Hmm. Well, if I'm not close enough to any halflings, then this might be a bad idea, but I waved towards one of the guards. Excuse me.
All right. She stops, crosses her arms.
Forgive me, I'm a traveler of sorts. Might I inquire as to what this is about?
New ownership.
I see. What happened to the previous owner?
He was arrested.
Huh.
Didn't pay all his taxes. So
Tax
now,
evasion, huh?
so now his home belongs to someone new.
Seems like a waste of good furniture, though.
The new owner is having it auctioned off.
Hmm. Is this something that's common here, or?
Eh, ever since Prince Camilio came into power, this isn't the first halfling den that we've had to clear.
I see. So it's. Hmm.
And one of the guards passing by behind her says, "Yeah, halflings just can't pay their taxes these days, huh?" And all the guards let out a mean laugh at that, including the one you're talking to.
Hmm. I wonder why that is. Do you happen to know?
I don't make the laws. I just make sure they're carried out.
Probably comes with a sizable paycheck at the end of it, too.
Camilio knows how to reward the public servants.
Hmm. Very well. Thank you for your time.
Roll perception. As you are keeping this guard busy, whether you intended to or not, you notice that one of the halflings had broken away from the crowd and stealthily managed to grab a few plates out of the furniture and other stuff thrown out onto the street. They look to be finely made with ceramic with silver trimming.
Might I attempt to tail this person?
You might. That will be stealth.
In all sixes. It's like my third one.
Well, luckily for you, apparently the halfling has been keeping an eye out for guard uniforms and not for wandering half-orcs.
Which is fair.
Because you managed to keep following him all the way up until he reaches this sort of, the bad part of the Enclave. The part with older buildings that haven't been doing quite as well. The ground has been shifting and the foundations are moving and tilting the buildings at crazed angles. It's obviously not a place you would want to pay money to live, and yet some people are desperate enough to do so.
Because they don't have a choice.
Exactly.
Grenache knows how that works.
And the person that you're tailing happens to go down a few steps and into one of these buildings.
I follow along.
Right into the building? Into the residence?
Oh, it's a residential building, is it?
Oh yeah. Like by its height, it's probably got a few apartments, but no business on the ground floor or anything.
Yeah.
No.
Is this a halfling residence?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, I'll sit down in front of the door. Don't want to look too intimidating. And I just, as gentle as I can, just tap on the door. Or tap on something at least to generate a sound to gain attention.
Well, there is a door.
Okay.
It had to be kind of sawed off at weird angles to fit the tilted frame, but it is still sitting in there.
Okay. I just tap on that as lightly as I can.
Well, apparently, whoever you followed is well away from the door because you don't hear a response to your gentle tap.
I put a bit of force behind the next tap.
Okay. You hear a sudden thud and some quick whispers that are too quiet for you to overhear. And a halfling yanks open the door and with his head looking up, and so he's kind of surprised to have to look down to see a sitting half-orc instead of what he was probably expecting, a standing guard. So he's a bit thrown off by this, but he still gives you a suspicious, "What do you want?"
Don't worry, I'm not with them.
With who?
The guard
Clearly.
that I was distracting.
Well, you were talking to the guard.
Indeed. I wanted information.
Right.
Unfortunately, the information they give me doesn't work for me. I was hoping you might be more willing.
Roll persuasion.
Okay.
Look, I don't know you from any of the other tall folk in town. Like, maybe you done me right by not turning me in right away. Apparently you saw me back there.
I don't have intentions of turning you in at all.
That's nice. Why not?
Because I know what it's like to live with nothing.
So what do you want from me then?
I want to know what what the humans have been up to here and what can be done to set things right. Or what would need to be done.
Well, can you kill Prince Camillio?
Might have a way to.
Shit, you're serious.
I nod.
All right, then I'm not the one you want to talk to. You should talk
Right.
to Salazar. He's sort of the informal leader around here.
I have been hearing that name in the past. How might I speak with this Salazar?
Well, you could go to his import business. Can't miss it. His name's on the sign. But you might not want to talk to him there.
Nah, too public.
Right. So, tell him that Sammy sent you, and that you got a bone to pick with the big C. From there, you should probably set up a meeting. That'll get you a little more peace and quiet.
Sounds about right. I will go and do that then. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. And don't say that Sammy sent you anywhere else, right? Don't tell that to
Don't worry.
anyone else.
Don't worry. It'd be strictly his ears only.
Good. And he closes the door, and you hear the distinct sound of a bar coming down across it.
That's fair. I get up and start making my way to this, looking for this Salazar place.
All right. Well, you don't find it immediately, but you won't have to roll for it because you'll get a couple of suspicious looks, but you will get directions to his place.
Alrighty.
And yeah, sure enough, Salazar's import business is pretty big. Looks like he's got the warehouse on site. And so as such, there's most of the building entrances and windows and such are human sized. And there is a mixed employees coming in and out, employees and clients. And when you enter, it looks like the front area is basically given over to be sort of a store full of exotic stuff, spices, fine goods, the kind of things that you just can't find on the western side of the continent easily.
Must be a lot of trade that comes through here. Interesting. I proceed on through.
All right. You come up to the counter, and the person behind the counter is a female halfling. Has a bright smile on her face. Hi, how can I help you?
Good day. I believe I am looking for a Master Salazar.
Oh, of course. But Salazar doesn't just meet with all of our customers. You understand.
Of course.
It's a busy man.
Of course, I'm willing to arrange an appointment if that's what he wishes.
Okay. And who might I say is requesting this appointment? And she's brought out a piece of paper and a pen.
I go by the name of Grunash. I'm a traveler of sorts.
Grunash. All right. Are you in the export business, Mr. Grunash?
I'm I wouldn't say I'm more into exports, but there are certainly some pieces here that take my interest, and
He's
I'd
he's
like to
into
explore.
exporting people's heads from their bodies.
Well, I don't want to say that out loud. And I figured we could be helpful to one another.
Well, are you saying that you would like something from Mr. Salazar's personal stocks?
Potentially. I like to keep my options open.
All right. Well, I'm afraid Mr. Salazar is busy all of this week, but I could possibly squeeze you in next Wednesday.
Is there
Things feel
no
a little
way
bit
of
more
making that
forceful
faster?
here.
Sorry, Tiamos, what was that?
Is there any way to make that faster?
Well, I'm sorry, but like I said, Mr. Salazar is a busy man. He's got quite a lot on his plate,
Sadly,
especially
so am
with
I.
everything
And
that's been happening in town recently.
indeed, I have been hearing stories, which is why what I have to discuss with him might be a matter of urgency. If there is some way that I can make that faster.
Wait, so, and she glances left and right. Are you saying that you're not here for Mr. Salazar's private stocks?
As I said, potentially, I like to keep all my options open.
Well, I'm going to need a little bit more than a potential if you really want to meet Mr. Salazar.
Dude, just lie to get through the door. Once you meet him, it doesn't matter what you say to her.
Yeah, I reached to my bag and look at the gold pieces that I got there. How much potential do you need?
She stares at the gold for a bit before saying, "Listen, Mr. Salazar pays me well. But I'll tell you what. If you can put down 100 gold for Mr. Salazar's benefit as a donation for his services, I could go upstairs and let Mr. Salazar know that he's got a wealthy patron who's shown up and might be interested in donating more."
That would not be a problem. I pull out 100 gold from my collection and set it down.
She nods, and almost before you know, it's gone off the counter and down somewhere underneath. She's just that fast. And so she says, so she smiles again and says, "I'll let Mr. Salazar know you're here."
My thanks.
And Salazar turns out to be fairly dark-haired for a halfling. Usually they tend to more light browns and blondes, but this one's got particularly dark brown hair. And also, oddly, for a city halfling at least, he seems to have some fairly thick leather armor on, or a few pieces of leather armor on his chest and legs. But aside from that, the shirt sleeves poking out from underneath it are well made. Look like they have some very fancy and expensive cloth went into making them. And so Mr. Salazar comes up to the counter, which, by the way, is sized for a halfling, and so it's more like up to your knees.
Mhm.
And he looks up at you and he says, "Huh. So, Mr. Big Shot, why are you here?"
Well, I figured that since I was in town and I heard your name come up a few times, it'd be good to get to know one another and see if we can be a benefit to each
Did you
other.
not?
Just
Did
tell
you
him what
just?
the guy told him to
Yeah,
say.
seriously,
Like,
just like.
Yeah, it was strictly just for his years only. The secretary is probably still there. There's people around. It's probably not a good idea to say it out loud. I'm thinking this too. Don't worry.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're in town and you've come to me at a time like this, and you've dropped 100 gold pieces down on this counter here just to talk to me.
Indeed.
And you're not going to tell me about what?
Well, I won't speak openly. If you would prefer, I'd like to speak about it in private.
That can be arranged. All right, Sandra, back to the desk. I'm taking this one in the back. What the hell?
Someone's getting bored, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. No.
Oh, this is the problem with splitting the party even when there is no immediate danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
All right. So, yeah, Salazar takes you back, and you go through the warehouse that is the majority of this building, and it is pretty big, and there are a surprisingly small number of boxes in it. Looks like it's been mostly cleaned out, or like it's someone built this warehouse to fill maybe 10 times as much as it's holding. But you
Hmm.
go up a flight of stairs to a suspended office. The office, notably, is strictly halfling sized, and so you pretty much have to bend double in order to fit through the door.
That's fine. I'm not too bad at crawling.
And Salazar, for his part, does not seem to care about your discomfort as he goes over to his rich mahogany desk, sits down on a cherrywood seat, and steeples his fingers and says, "So,
And it's just us two in the room, right?
yes."
Okay. So I go, okay, so truth of the matter is, Sammy sent me in this direction, given the fact that there is some bones to pick with the big C.
uh, well, I commend you for being cautious, but now that we're here, you don't need to use the code words.
Indeed, but I thought I'd be cautious all the same. It was as instructed.
Yeah, fair enough. So, what's your problem with the prince?
Well, it might not specifically be mine, but it is something very close and dear to a companion that I'm traveling with. One Aurelia de Seferani Diviana.
Aurelia?
Indeed. You know the name?
That's right. The old prince had 4 kids.
Indeed.
Somewhere far in the distance, Aurelia's ego gets wounded.
How could they forget me, the best and most important one?
Yeah, in the middle of eating the pasta, just hello.
But yeah. So what? She back in town or something?
Indeed, and she looks to put an end to the person who's running this place to the ground.
Well, shit. Can't get too much worse than what we've got right now.
I like how you don't explain that Aurelia is like explicitly against discriminating against the halflings. Thanks for that, by the way.
Uh,
Well, don't forget, it is institutional, too.
Right. But I mean, this is a change that happened with Camillo.
Mhm. All right, so pitch me your new ruler. The hell should I care about changing the guard here? And
well,
maybe more importantly, what do I have to do with it?
well, from what I hear, a lot of the halfling population have been trampled on by the humans of late, and it's all due to this new person that's in charge who's been raising taxes and putting people out of homes, leaving them destitute and desperate. As someone who's been there and done that, I know it can be tough.
Do
Which
you?
is, trust me, I do.
I told you, sell me on this. Come on.
Maybe you could talk about how Aurelia is a great and just and wise person, and you've traveled with her, and you know that she will be a much better ruler and would never discriminate against people because they're halfling. Just
Given
throwing
the
that out there.
experience recently in the Feywild,
Not wanting to believe that evil is not the same as being a fucking committing fucking pogroms, dude. Come on.
well, okay, so here's the thing. This person in charge, he doesn't listen to reason. He just wants power, money, everything that greedy leaders seem to want in their world. Miss Aurelia, well, even I could say that she has a few misgivings about her. She has her head in the right place. She's willing to listen, she's willing to learn, and she's more than willing to accept mistakes from herself and others and try to make the world around her better.
And
And I
what's she
believe that
willing to do for the halflings?
well, I would imagine she could agree to lightening the load on your people.
Well, okay. I'll just say she definitely did make it clear to Grenache that she would end all of the new policies against them and is against discriminating against them. So
Yeah. She's certainly not for taking people's homes, livelihoods. Definitely doesn't want to see businesses go under just because some new tax isn't paid. Everything that her brother has done, she would be against it. She's not supportive of oppressing the people. She wants them to thrive.
Well, that's nice and all, but that's enough for us to stay out of the way, but then we would have done that anyway. I assume you've come to me because you want our help. So what can you get? So what can this Aurelia give us to get our help?
Well,
because I've got a few suggestions if you're out of ideas.
I'm always up for suggestions. Like I said to your secretary, options are always available, and I like more.
Halfling captainship, and at least 30 new seats on the council for the halfling population.
Well, how big is the council?
Yeah, I thought the council
You're new
was
in town. You're new in town, so let me explain. The council is already 400 strong and growing thanks to the new prince.
And I presume this is mostly humans.
All humans.
That doesn't surprise me one bit. They always were that type.
Right, well, unless you're authorized on behalf of this Aurelia of yours to sign papers that would make this binding, they suggest you head back there. They suggest you head back to her and find out what she thinks. Until then, I am not going to lift one scrawny little hand and to mix myself up into this political bullshit.
And I wouldn't expect you to. Trust me, I know getting mixed into this is probably a bad idea for most people. Which is why the plan of getting rid of the person in charge will mostly fall to my group rather than anyone here.
Speaking of which, you can't come back to this office ever again.
Of course.
You know Sammy. So go see Sammy. Bring him any papers that this Aurelia of yours signs for you. We'll handle everything else.
That won't be a problem.
We'll see. So unless you've got any other coup d'etats you wanted to discuss.
Mm. I mean, at this point, my thinking has gone to, do I need anything that I need to buy here? so I think that's pretty much a close to the conversation. I say, if there's anything that I wish to purchase, I know where to come. But beyond that,
Yeah,
I think that's all that I can do here.
you should probably wait and take a good look at the stock after the political fighting's over.
Yeah, I'll probably get a
course.
discount at that point, too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. That closes Grunash's plot. So, Lake, you're just straight up on the streets, probably towards the docks, because that's where all of the people who don't have much money live.
Right. So my thinking is, even though he's a popular kind of guy, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody loves him. So there's probably going to be a group of, everyday men who probably aren't too happy with his current political standing. So I'm gonna see if I can find out anything about them.
All right. Roll insight.
Right? Not too great at insight, but doesn't matter if I roll good, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, the talk of the town in the parts that you're visiting seems to be the lottery, actually. Everybody, it turns out that you actually do have to pay a silver in order to get a ticket for the lottery. And so apparently he's getting additional funding through that. But yeah, no, actually, there doesn't seem to be that much resentment among the working class in the city. Like the fact that any money at all is going to them is this novel and interesting development. And as far as they're concerned, it means that for once the prince actually cares about them.
So like even the poorest of the poor aren't like too mad about this.
No, they can afford it to pay a silver into the lottery. Not every single time it's held, but still often enough.
Yeah, that's gambler's fallacy. All right.
Hmm.
Shit. All
Well,
right.
there is something interesting that you notice, though, which is that near the docks you find a dogfighting ring. Seems to be
Cool.
seems to be a popular pastime around here to watch the dogs fight and bet on them.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
these are the worst people then.
I mean, the cards
And-
for laughing at halfling misfortune. So I mean, this isn't a step up as much as a step sideways.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
that's sort of the theme of the Middle Ages, is that everywhere is actually terrible.
yeah. Who would have thought? The Dark Ages were pretty
Man, I still
dark.
put it on a
What?
card though.
All right, but the reason that
The grim dark ages.
the reason that this catches your attention, though, is not the dog fighting itself, but the fact that apparently the people who like to dog fight are, many of them seem to be acquaintances or good friends with Antonio. And they brag about this because Antonio, of course, is good friends with the prince.
All right. All right. So I guess I'll go over and throw a couple silver in on a bet, like sort of half-heartedly, because Lake isn't too thrilled about the prospects of two dogs that are probably starving to death, having to fight each other. But you know, it's the sort of thing you have to do in order to keep a low profile. So I'll throw like 2 silver in on that.
All right. What would that be? Oh, yeah. Roll. Oh, wait, no. Not that one. I'm thinking about the right skill here. Okay, roll insight with disadvantage because you're being half-hearted.
Yeah. I mean, still got 12.
Okay, you won your bet.
All right. So, while the dogs are fighting, or at least, or maybe after, because you know, not a lot of people are gonna want to talk during the actual fight. Lake is gonna
Right.
try and schmooze with these people that his new friends, we'll say. So he's gonna try and talk to them and see like, hey, who's this Antonio guy?
Roll persuasion.
All right, that's something I'm actually really good at, so I'm not too worried. Unless I roll a 4, but I mean, it's still.
Well, fortunately, you're just asking about common knowledge here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they say, oh, Antonio, yeah, he always shows up here. Only on the weekends, but you can guarantee that he'll be here. If you want to talk to him, then that'll be the time to do so.
All right. Antonio's over here on the weekends. Cool. Is he like always betting on the dogs, or is he just like in the docks in general?
Oh, he's always here.
Okay.
Yeah, he loves the dog fights.
All right. Cool. I don't say this out loud. Piece of shit. Got it. All right. Well, nice. Is there? I mean, trying to think of anything like any other information I might be able to get from them. What time of day is it? Because I feel like offering to buy around at like noon would probably be not great.
Yeah, it is fairly early in the day still.
Yeah.
Didn't take you too long. Didn't take you too long to find the dog fighting ring, and
All right. I guess I'll also try and ask about like where else Antonio might like. Well, he's only here on the weekends, right? Like, where else? Where would he be? Like, where is he? Where is he work or like what's the rest of his schedule like?
well, he always hangs out with the Prince Camilio. Everybody knows that.
Out of character. He's one of the bodyguards, isn't he?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Antonio was also the name of one of Aurelia's brothers, so that's a little weird, but yes,
It is a very common name.
it is.
Yeah. All right.
Now we find out his last name is Banderas.
Of course not. It's Bandaro.
No, his last name is also Antonio. It's like a Mario situation. I don't know.
All right. Well, you might be able to find information on the other two bodyguards.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll ask around about the other two bodyguards. What were their names again? Because like I know Lake would remember those. I just didn't write them down.
Modesto and Glauco, or Glaucho,
How's it spelled?
with a C.
C and then what?
Oh,
Oh, no. Then it's Co.
Okay.
It's only Cho if it's an irony.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'll ask around. I'll ask around to see if anybody knows about the other two guys that the prince hangs out with.
okay. Then that's. I believe I prefer investigate, but with charisma instead of intelligence.
Okay, I'm just gonna roll persuasion then because that would be the it would be the same because I'm proficient in investigation. Fucking Christ! I cannot roll for garbage today.
All right. Well, you don't get too many details, but you do get like sort of a general sense of what their occupations could be, because between them, Modesto does not seem to wear any sort of armor or hindering clothing or have any sort of weapons handy.
So he's a mage.
So he's a monk.
One of the two.
However, Glauco is quite the opposite, because few people have actually seen his face, because he wears this very heavy set of armor along with a long glaive. And yes, the armor comes complete with a thick helmet that he always keeps on, which is kind of unusual, because normally normally you're supposed to only put that on when you're actively charging into battle or something. Otherwise it's too restricting of vision and movement.
Maybe he's secretly a golem.
I was actually thinking more like secretly like a thing of animated armor, but that also works. Golem.
Same thing.
However, there is one other distinguishing feature about him, which is that his armor has the symbol of a drop of blood right on the middle of the breastplate.
Can I roll religion to see if that has any religious connotations?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's just going to be a straight D20 because I'm terrible at religion.
All right.
One time you need a good roll.
Not being too familiar with the Relgoth pantheon, you can pretty much figure that it probably belongs to one of them, considering that they're all crazy and war and deal with war. But you just from hearing it, you would be able to pin it down.
Okay, so he could potentially be a cleric.
Or a paladin.
Or
Hmm.
yeah, or paladin. But like, I'm pretty sure clerics wear heavy armor in 5th edition.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So he's
They-
either
they-
so he could potentially be a cleric or a paladin, but he's definitely like a frontline fighter.
I thought there's only medium armor and shields for clerics.
Is it? He might have taken the.
Does it depend on what your domain or whatever is?
Maybe.
Like if you're a war cleric, can't war cleric do extra
I know.
stuff or something?
I'm gonna.
I know there's one or two that do that.
Proficiencies: light and medium armor.
Oh, okay. So he's probably more of a paladin than he is a cleric. Unless the war
Probably, I wanna
domain.
check this
Unless
now.
the war.
However, the war domain does add martial weapons and heavy armor to your proficiency
Yeah.
list.
There we go.
There
So
you go.
he could potentially.
But the fact that it sounded like Bobbin had to look that up. So
Yeah.
that probably means that he's a paladin.
Yeah. That, or he could just be a really weird religious fighter. I mean, I don't know.
That, or I pull his stats straight out of a book.
That too.
That's fair.
But yeah. So. Oh, what's Antonio wear like as far as his like armor and stuff is concerned? Because I never got that.
He always seems to wear a few layers of clothing, and
Dresses for the winter. Smart.
enough so that no one really knows, or no one has really noticed anything you might have underneath his outer layer.
Okay, so he might be some sort of rogue trying to keep all of his shit hidden.
Interesting. Well, we're gonna kill them all either way. So
Yeah, I mean,
fine.
yeah, but I'd rather do this one at a time. And honestly,
Mhm.
out of all.
And by the way,
Go ahead.
By the way, you may not know which god has a drop of blood, but you are surrounded by people who are very familiar with Relgoth's
Oh,
pantheon.
yeah. Okay, I'll ask around and be like, hey, I'm new in town. I come from further up north. Like, is there a god that's associated with a drop of blood at all?
Okay. Roll deception in order to not come off as suspicious.
Okay, I'm also really good at that. And look, I actually rolled worth a damn.
All right, you just come off as ignorant instead, just as planned.
Yeah.
So the drop of blood actually belongs to one of the less savory members of an already unsavory pantheon. The god's name is Paft. So, like spelled so.
That was close.
And he is the god of death, war, slaughters, and massacres.
I feel like a little bit of redundancy there, but okay.
Listen, you have to cover all of your bases when you're a god.
Yeah, slaughters and massacres. I
Yeah.
mean, look, there are slaughter gods and there are massacre gods, but you want to be a god of both slaughter and massacre. Well, you know.
Yeah, come on.
Legend has it that when the two chief gods of Relgoth, Protodor and Antidor, were first fighting, the blood they spilled coagulated and became the god Paft.
Okay, so this guy also sounds like a very nice man who will probably just enjoy a conversation and some tea.
And in fact, you can still see him up in the sky. It's that red dot that always moves from day to day.
The sun.
No, the red dot.
All right, cool. So I've got some ideas about what these bodyguards can do, and honestly, I'm most worried about Modesto because fucking spellcasters. So
I have counterspell and silence that
yeah,
I've never really got to use.
yeah, but still,
So
like I think we should go after Modesto first and Groucho because he's probably also some sort of
well,
spellcaster.
I mean, I think the question is, does it make sense to try to go after them? Like, I get the logic of going after them one by one, because they'll be weaker. The problem is, if we go after one, or I mean, maybe we could go with killing one of them, but if two of them just get assassinated out of nowhere, Camillo is going to get really suspicious, and it might end up just making our job harder.
True. So which one would we want to? I'm guessing that this is basically all I figured out, and I'm gonna head back over to the rest of the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scene wipe back to the tavern.
and we're discussing which of these bodyguards we're gonna murder.
I
I mean, honestly,
I like, even just killing one, there's some amount of risk, I think. Unless we could arrange something. I mean, I would almost prefer to try to arrange something to get one or two of them away from Camillo at the time that we strike. I mean, maybe that's something
okay,
that,
so
our halfling buddies could help with. Maybe we should actually resolve that first, because they never made clear what aid they were willing to offer, did they?
No.
No, okay. That would have been a good thing to figure out. But okay. So once Grunash reports back about the halflings, I mean, Aurelia is probably going to be fine with that. She is very anti-racist, so
she'll just
she
fire
is.
30 of her brother's friends and replace them with halflings.
No, she doesn't even fire them. She just expand it more. Now, the only problem is that might piss off some of the merchants who she's trying to get on her side. So she might want to try to discuss that with Giuseppe.
Well,
Yeah.
why not open trade between the two races?
I mean, I think there already is trade.
Yeah,
That's the point.
The trade isn't the problem, it's who's getting the money from the trade.
Yeah, well, and more specifically, who's getting the political power in the council.
Well, lighten up the red tape. Make sure that there's no.
Grenache is a
excessive
libertarian.
Maybe we
Okay.
can push Antonio into the dogfights and they'll eat him and make it look like an accident. No, that's a stupid idea.
Yeah, well, okay, so there might be some. I'm gonna. Okay, Is it okay for Aurelia? We don't have to like role play it out, but I'm assuming Aurelia can have, get some answers from Giuseppe one way or another if she wants to. Like, because I want to know what he thinks of putting halflings on the council, and I also want to know if he thinks there are any, families or people who have been appointed to the council who maybe could be with, not being on the council anymore because they're too loyal to Camillo or whatever, and who could be replaced perhaps by halflings so as not to piss off the old merchants anymore by adding even more council seats.
Well, either way, you will definitely lose support with the merchant faction if you decide to add the halfling faction to your coalition. You won't scare them all off, but Giuseppe makes it clear that you won't be able to get as much support before or after the coup if you decide to broaden the tent, so to speak.
Well, Aurelia kind of wants to do that as a matter of principle, so she's willing to lose some support, as long as it won't completely, basically she just wants to make sure the merchants still prefer, on the whole, as a group, to Camillo, even if she does this.
Well, Giuseppe can help her out by basically pointing out which of the merchant families would be most against it and would thus be the best targets to replace with halflings. But if she wants the same sort of level of support from the merchants, she would have to make further concessions in order to bring the halflings in.
No, I don't think she wants to make any more concessions than she did. Having checks on her power and having, make guarantees that she will not make any power grabs like her brothers. I think that's as far as she's willing to go. If it loses her some support with the merchants, that's fine. Honestly, she's more concerned with just making sure that the merchants are not opposed to her overall. Okay, let me put it this way: if she supports the halflings and does it the way Giuseppe is talking about, what would the split be in terms of merchant support for her versus Camillo, kind of?
Well, the problem isn't necessarily the merchants who will support Camillo. The problem is the merchants who will make trouble for her afterwards.
Right, I see.
So it's more a question of what do you want the follow-up quest to be like?
Well, she's willing to risk it for the sake of doing the right thing. And as far as she's concerned, giving the halflings representation is the right thing. So she'll do whatever she can to ameliorate the concerns of the merchants in terms of, getting rid of the ones who were loyal to Camillo or who are the most racist against halflings or whatever. But yeah, she's not willing, she doesn't want to give up any more power than she already is.
And on the topic of racism, I do also bring up the fact that the guards seem to be very happy about kicking halflings out of homes.
Yeah, well, that's
They'll all be replaced.
Systemic racism for you. Well, but realistically, probably not. Thing is, they'll do their jobs. Most of them will. And if they're told to be more respectful of halflings, they might not like it, but
well,
ultimately, their racism is currently being enabled by the policies. Also, I need to answer the phone, so you guys can maybe talk some more about whatever.
Okay, so topic of who to get rid of.
I honestly, if we're only going to get rid of one, I would say Glaucho, because if by and by he is either a cleric or a paladin, that means healing on their end, and that's just adding hit points to their pool. So if we can only get rid of one, if we can only keep one from joining the fray, I would say Glaucho, because the less chance they have at healing.
Question.
It's Glauco, by the way.
Okay.
Question. Would Kunash know about Aurelia's polymorph?
Yeah, she's probably told him about that. Sorry, I just got back.
No worries.
I actually have to go in about 5 minutes. I don't
No
know
worries.
Well, we were wrapping up anyway.
much more.
Yeah,
okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah, but I got a quick suggestion there. What if we made Antonio's disappearance look like an accident? What can you change the dogs into?
What could I change the dogs into?
Yes.
I don't know if I could change the dogs into that much, because the dogs, the target
gets turned into any creature.
Yeah, any beast of choice of the same challenge rating or lower. So I wouldn't be able to turn the dogs into something fearsome, if that's what you're thinking.
Oh, of the same challenge rating or lower, so that's probably not.
Turn Antonio into a cat.
You could turn Antonio into a cat.
Or into a dog, if you really wanted to go for,
that's a good
prime
show.
irony.
Yeah. That said, I I'd rather, because we'll only have a couple minutes. I don't know if we need to plan out the exact mechanics of how we're going to do stuff
How
right
about
now.
this?
We can do
I'd
that off
rather
camera.
get our
honest.
coalition
We can
Yeah.
settled.
we can do that off
Yeah.
camera. Yeah.
You can do that between sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the coalition, I think we should finalize that. So is that, have we got that finalized? We're going to
Right.
have the halflings and whatever.
Yeah.
Full halfling
Order.
support, minor merchant support.
That's fair.
Okay.
We can work with that.
Minor versus major. Those were the only two. So
Okay. And so I guess the halflings can help carry out whatever our plan is for next time.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty.
Good session.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have to go pretty quick, so
No worries.
I will sign off unless there's anything else.
All right. Later.
no,
I think we're wrapped.
Okay.
nothing that won't happen next time.
Okay.
Hmm.
Talk to you guys later.
Later.